Feeling uncertain? Let this cool, calm CEO help you get through it. Please welcome Adam Contos with RE/MAX.
So Adam, I'm delighted to be chatting with you one-on-one. You have such an interesting background that we'll get into a little more in a minute, but it's new that you're the CEO of RE/MAX.
Yes.
So let's start off with a question. I mean, were you gunning for this? Was this what you expected? Was this what you've been going for the whole time? Are you in it to dominate and win, as David Friedman?
Well, we're all different, and I love personal growth. I love helping people. I think you need to be better every day as a human being, professionally, personally, with your health, things like that. And this is where my path has taken me. Try to be the best you can be. And fortunately, I've had some amazing mentors. I'm part of some amazing mastermind groups and had coaches and things like that. And I just, I believe, you end up where you end up, but be the best that you can be. And I think that's what got me here.
Yeah. So, let's start by saying I think 2018 has really been a year where we've understood that the industry is not going back to the way that it used to be, right? And I think that for a lot of people, that's created a lot of fear. And there's been actually, I would say, a fair amount of kind of noise and chaos in the industry overall. You have this really interesting background. You were in the military, you were in the Marines, and then you spent some time as a law enforcement officer, right? So I'm very curious to hear from you, with that type of training, how you're thinking about and handling this environment, which feels more conflicted than a lot of environments that I think we've operated in the past.
The environment that we're in right now is different, but the feelings about the environment, I don't necessarily know are different than past environments. I mean, you look at the recession, 7, 8, 9, 10, through those times, and a lot of people were pulling their hair out going, oh my gosh, what do I do? And that was chaotic as well. And then you look at where we're at right now with a lot of really what we'll call distractive operations going on in the industry, things that are pulling people away from their core business fundamentals. People saying, oh, you're going to be taken out by this app or by that machine or whatever it might be. And what's happening is the same thing that happens in a chaotic environment interpersonally in society, be it on a police call, a SWAT call, let's say. I ran a SWAT team for quite a while. And you look at those and you go, okay, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on. But truly, what are you here for? What is the mission? What is the goal? And how do you focus on that and define how you achieve that goal? Because in all reality, you look at compare a first responder to a real estate agent in a real estate transaction, let's say with a complicated listing or a complicated buyer or what have you. I guess there's no non-complicated part to this industry anymore. But realistically, it's what are you here for? And how do you focus on getting to that goal? And a lot of it is taking a deep breath, taking a step back and saying, what can I use the tools and resources available for me, the technology now, and what interpersonal activities do I need to engage in? And a lot of times what we find is those interpersonal activities that we need to engage in are a function of, we heard it earlier today, the emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
It's a function of how do we communicate with people, how do we determine what to do, and how do we convince ourselves to execute on them. And it's funny because deciding what to do is the hard part a lot of times. Doing it, that's doing the job.
Yeah, when you and I did a prep call, you actually told a story about being in an environment where basically someone shot at you, and how one of the biggest risks in that environment is that you don't take any action at all, that you're frozen. So you actually have to make a decision about what to do. How do you see this environment? What do you think are the dangers for agents in terms of not deciding what to do in an environment like this? What is it that you're telling your managers to watch out for with their agents getting sort of frozen?
It's funny you say that, and the I got to tell the story just real quick.
Oh, please.
So we're on a SWAT call, and my partner and I are standing. There's a tree right between us, and we're throwing concussion grenades into a window, and this bullet hits the tree right between us. And I look at him and I go, "There's a bullet just hit the tree between us," and he goes, "All right, let's do our job." So we just continue to do our job, and it's funny because it translates well on into, you know, the real estate transaction, life in general, of don't get distracted by the things that are thrown at you. Yeah. Don't get distracted by the, you know, oh my gosh, agents are going to be taken out in this business, or oh my gosh, you know, the computer says this about my house. It's step up and be the professional and be confident and do your job and execute on it. And that's really what the full-time professional agents focus on. And that's why you can scale your business, is you're getting rid of all the noise, yeah, and you're doing what matters.
Yeah. So you have, you know, you run a large franchise business. I'm curious to ask you kind of two questions about that. First, how do you actually scale this type of, you know, this type of learning, this philosophy, this culture through a franchise? And then second, how do you think franchises are going to remain relevant in the market as it's changing?
I think a big key to that is a relevant answer to everybody's business. The first key to that is communication. Yeah. We know when communication starts slowing down, shutting down, that people start wondering. Because when communication slows down, it leaves an open loop in people's heads, the what if. And the what if causes people to really ask or fill that gap with the worst case scenario. So you have a buyer and somebody tells them, oh my gosh, the market's going to be really difficult next month. And they come to you and they go, oh my gosh, the market's going to be really difficult next month. And they sit there and they're putting this worst case scenario in their head. They're looking for you to close that loop. And that's really what people in business are looking for. They're looking for, give me the confidence to do what I need to do. And that's the first step to being successful in a business to business to business to consumer relationship, which is what we're in. I mean, we're a business that builds businesses. So our job is to help close that loop with our franchisees and with the agents out there in order to focus them on doing the execution of this business.
It's so interesting. As you're talking, I'm having a realization that I hadn't had before, that actually franchise structures are kind of military in nature, that you have someone at the top and then you have these different levels of kind of command through which you need to basically communicate the plans to ensure that something consistent happens.
Exactly. And secondarily, the second part of your question is, okay, what creates the relevance in those? Yeah. What creates that?
Well, in particular, in an environment where I think you and I were just talking backstage about the need for agents to prove their relevance in this market, and the fact that I think both you and I agree that we're going to see different types of technology, but we're going to see tech enable agents, and then we're going to see some agents replaced by tech when they're not doing their jobs or offering value. Right. So how to ensure in a structure where you could be far away from the agent in the field, that your RE/MAX agents are offering value.
I think it's communicating that clarity of what does a franchise brand offer. A franchise offers really a few things. One is a brand and two is a system. Yeah. And those are things that with enough time and money, in this day and age, an extraordinarily high amount of both, you can build both. But people in this industry want to be out integrating with the consumer and providing that value to the consumer, the home seller and home buyer, in order to do business. So really what it boils down to is us providing those tools and resources. The brand, we spend tens of millions of dollars a year on marketing. The systems there, we have immense amounts of training where an agent can go learn essentially anything they want in this business, and then the tools and systems that back that, such as the technology, the marketing pieces, like video, for instance. Everybody's afraid of making video, and they spend hours and hours. We just came up with a video tool that they can make a video in like a minute and broadcast it out. So it's about leveraging those things within your company in order to spend the time doing what you should be doing, the full-time professional agent should be doing, which is working with the consumer.
Yeah. What concerns you then? What keeps you up at night about what's happening with the industry right now?
I think what keeps me up at night is providing clarity to those open loop questions. Yeah. Because if you can answer the right question, provide the confidence, just like with a buyer or seller who has concerns, has emotions, and needs to understand that they are being dealt with by the right professional here to solve their problems and challenges. It's how do you answer those? And that's what always goes through my head, is explaining, okay, if we say this, we can solve that for the consumer. And it's communicating how to employ these systems and tools and technologies and things like that appropriately, and answer that question so we can get on to dealing with the consumer appropriately.
Okay, I'm going to give you a couple of lightning round questions
Sure.
about the concerns that I've heard from people in the industry. We talked a little bit about agents' relevancy, but is tech going to replace the agent?
I think tech is going to replace the agents that are not good at what they do. The agents, and we heard it today, and we saw the interweaving of technology and people, professionalism, things like that. The agents that don't understand that, they are threatened. Okay. The agents that are the full-time professionals that understand how to leverage what they have, the tools, the technology, and build those amazing relationships. And I spend a lot of time with agents that are scaling their business beyond belief right now, adding dozens of transactions a year. They get it. Those agents are safe.
Is the pure play brokerage model going to endure, or are you going to need to have significant additional sources of revenue to compete over time?
I think it's going to be a combination. Yes, the pure play brokerage model, if they understand that concept I just talked about and get really, really good and not distracted, yes, they will do well. However, it's always nice to see what are the other sources of revenue that they can add to their business model, because they do have a customer base. And there are a few ways to add to that, and one of which is adding other revenue streams to your customer base in order to scale your profitability.
And iBuyers, we've seen some moves with big firms acquiring or becoming iBuyers, or starting to consider that. What do you think? iBuyers opportunity or foe?
I see it as another player in the industry. This is a big pie that we all eat off of a slice of. And there's a place in the marketplace for them, watching, learning, things of that nature. We have a lot of offices that are iBuyers, guaranteed, sold, those types of things. So, we're participating here and there in the marketplace. Are we an iBuyer? No, we're not. But we're watching and learning from the process.
And finally, one I didn't prep you for, but I've heard from a couple of people today. Zillow, friend or foe?
I think the portals supply a lot of business to our agents. Our agents are a huge customer of Zillow. So, as the ones that want to continue to help our customers grow in their business, I think are relevant in the marketplace. Competitors are competitors, but this is a cooperative environment, so we all have to figure out a way to work together. They're here, let's figure out a way to work together.
Great. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Clelia.
Thanks, guys.